Good afternoon. My name is Bill Scholler. I'm the artist facilitator at Solano State Prison. I'd like to welcome you to Arts and Corrections. What we have to offer at the facility here are classes in acrylic painting, watercolor painting, keyboard, music theory, guitar classes, as well as creative writing and percussion workshops. And maybe in the future we'll have an acting class. I'm working on that right now. What we have to show you today is a wonderful performance by the double bass player Dobbs and the guitarist Lars Frandsen. And I hope you enjoy the show, and if you see me walking along the yard, please introduce yourself. I'd love to meet you and share with you what we have to offer with Arts and Corrections. Thank you so much.
As we were driving up this morning, I was telling Lars, this is really weird. Here we are driving past this intimidating kind of place with fences and towers and barbed wire and people locked up, and I'm saying, God, I just can't wait. That's going to be so much fun. I get to see all my friends. It's, an odd thing that's happened to me. For those of you who don't know, the summary of what I've been doing the last 5 years is I left a pretty serious, watch out for the P's. I did it again. Pretty serious classical music career, and decided that for the rest of my life, I wanted to only play for audiences that otherwise wouldn't get to hear music. So I started playing in prisons. I've now played in, 14 or so facilities in California. I just got access to prisons in New York State, and I've played about 6 of those, and then Connecticut and New Hampshire. Then that went so well that I thought I should go to another place that's like a prison, Palestine West Bank, which has been in the news a lot lately. Palestine West Bank is a very small piece of territory, but in fact it's a large prison. It has a wall around it with towers that look just like the ones out front, or all around. It has barbed wire and armed guards. It has gates that you can't go through unless you have the right kind of documents. And when you travel around from place to place within it, you go past armed checkpoints where soldiers have machine guns. So I started playing there primarily for children in refugee camps. And children are not terrorists. Children are children. And a little bit of music is a wonderful thing for them. And I didn't stop there. I said, where else can I focus my energies? And I began going to Afghanistan. And there I've played for all kinds of audiences. Afghanistan had, during the Taliban, had no music. Music was considered illegal. I mean, it was considered immoral, but it was also illegal. So any kind of singing, dancing, listening to music, or playing music was arrestable offense, and sometimes people's hands were cut off for playing music. So they need music more than anywhere because most of the musicians have split. The musicians are everywhere. Hey, there's a better gig in Pakistan. I'm out of here. So I played for lots of children in schools. I played for cultural societies. I played for 2 different drug rehab centers. and the International Women's Festival, and I played on TV a couple times for 15 million people. But everywhere I go, I always play some of the solo music of Johann Sebastian Bach. And 3 years ago, the first time I came, I played the C major suite. There's 6 of these suites. Last year I played the 4th suite. And this year I'm just going to play the opening of the 5th suite. But it's a fantastic movement. It's prelude and fugue, and it's in C minor. It's dramatic. It's the most powerful, I think, in that way of all the suites. And the prelude is a slow introduction with lots and lots of chords. It shows off the sonorities of the bass. And then the fugue is like a round. It's one melody that comes in, and then it comes in again in a different key. It comes in sometimes backwards, upside down, with filling material. But there's an illusion of many people playing with this first melody. So it's a fantastically cool thing, which doesn't mean you have to pay attention to that. It basically starts softly and then ends with a huge dramatic finish. But the important thing is, if you're open to it, it's really emotional music. And it's simple enough so that anyone in the world can understand and appreciate it. And I love it. Last summer, I got a phone call from an old friend, Lars Frandsen, saying that he'd just gotten a letter from Yale University offering a grant to any musician who graduated from Yale, and Lars got his master's at Yale, playing with any other musicians, doing something that would, in their words, further the cause of music. So we thought immediately of rehabilitation and wrote a grant for us to play together on 15 concerts in California and 5 in New York State. At the time, we were hoping that we would get access to New York State. We hadn't done that yet. And a lot of people applied. So many people applied that they kept postponing the announcement. It was $100,000 divided up, 2 grants of $10,000, several for $3,000, and some for $1,000, and then a bunch for $500. And because this program sounded so good, coming here to play for you guys, we got the $10,000. Yay! And at the time, the first thing I could think of was the great scene in Wayne's World, where he's under the table and he goes, "We got $10,000. We got $10,000." Lars.
Good morning, Solano. I wonder what that sounds like, but my first time in prison. We've done a few gigs like these, but this is the first one with this kind of distance. So I hope to meet you guys later, sort of on closer up, and be able to talk a little more personally. Yeah, I graduated from Yale School of Music. I came to Yale as an exchange student from the Royal Academy of Music in London And I went on after Yale to do a doctoral degree at the Eastman School of Music. And I now teach in New York City, where I live, and my wife, who's Caribbean, by the way. So we travel a lot. That sounds like a nice resume, right? What was not stated on my resume is that I was also a high school dropout. And quite frankly, according to my dad, I mean, I can't remember all that many details, really. But if it wasn't for the guitar, which rehabilitated me, I might have become a very good friend of you guys. But that's the long story. We can talk more privately afterwards. I'm not gonna spend too much time talking about myself. I'm a little shy, you know. That's why I play the guitar. You know, that speaks for me, I guess. I'm just gonna play you a little piece by a Spanish composer, Isaac Albéniz. And the thing about Spanish composers is that they like to live abroad, as Danish people do too, I guess. So this Spanish fellow, he left home very early, actually, when he was a teenager, to go to Cuba, to Puerto Rico, to New York City, supposedly, and finally settling in Paris, as all good Spanish composers do, right? And then, at that point, he wrote Spanish music to remind him of his home country. And as all good Spanish composers, they don't write for the guitar, they write for the piano. Go figure, but that's the way it is. So this piece is actually written for the piano, as most good guitar music tend to be. And it's been sort of translated back to the guitar, you know, transcribed for the guitar. It's called Capricho Catalan. It's from, you know, based on folk music from around the area of Barcelona. Enjoy.
great thing about music is that there are an infinite number of feelings that it can produce. It's infinite number of, as infinite as the occasions in which it's played, and infinite in the people listening. I mean, it's completely your own experience. But a piece like that is all about lullaby and peace and tranquility, but each of you had your own experience there. So we're really lucky to find an incredibly cool piece that we could play together. It was written by a Brazilian composer named Radames Natali, written in Rio de Janeiro in 1969. And this is a completely different mood, but it has three different sections. The first one is kind of this funky plucking. I pluck along with Lars, and he keeps throwing in a 5/8 measure, so it goes. You know, it's fun, and in between there's these sort of nice melodies, and it gradually, occasionally starts sounding like it's from Brazil, which it is. And then the second movement is slow and dramatic. It's very beautiful. And the opening melody is clearly a Brazilian melody. And the last movement is sort of the clash of rhythms. I'm doing something, and Lars is doing something completely different. And we hope to meet at some point. And usually we do. But I'm going to ask you, as I've done before, not to applaud in between the three sections. Not because it's the snooty chamber music thing to do, but because it's really all one piece. And when you're done listening to the first one, there's silence to sort of reflect on what happened, get ready for the next thing. And the other thing is that here's 15 minutes to let the music take you wherever it will, you know. If you've ever been to Rio de Janeiro, it might take you there. I was there actually in 1971. Didn't sound anything like this. But no, there are places that sound really Brazilian, but it's very fluid, you know, a lot of different things happening. We have a great time playing it, and I hope you'll enjoy it. I'd like to do another very extremely serious and kind of depressing, sad piece. Why are you laughing? Something to turn the mood darker. This was a work that I created right after the attacks of 9/11. That's when it happened. I was in my studio and I wrote it in the weeks following the tragedy. But it has nothing to do with 9/11. It was just the day to write the piece, so I wrote it that day. The saddest day. This is a true story. It happened when I was 8 or 9, maybe 10. One day, I found a turtle down by the creek. It was a box turtle, pretty good size, about this big. I put him in the tub of an old electric clothes dryer and kept him on the porch. Sometimes I'd bring him inside, let him slide around on the wooden floors. He was a great turtle. One day, I decided to clean out his tub, so I carried it out to the backyard. We had a big backyard. I ran around to the other side of the house, turned on the hose, and carried it out back. I took my turtle out of his tub and set him in the grass. He lay there, watching me clean. He seemed quite happy. When I finished cleaning, I ran around to the other side of the house to turn off the hose. I ran back. He was gone. I searched the yard. I searched the neighbor's yard. I searched the field out back. He was gone. The fastest I'd ever seen him move, it would take him 20 minutes to go about 10 feet. But he showed me something that day. Woohoo! He must have been going 100 miles an hour. Probably achieved warp speed. I swear, No rabbit on earth could have stayed with him that day. I was so proud of him. Now, I just miss him. With his speed, he's probably traveled a good deal since then. Maybe even been to Europe, like France or Germany. Maybe picked up some other languages, like French or German. And since I never got to say goodbye to him, I'll do that now. Auf Wiedersehen, auf Wiedersehen, tschüss, tschüss, mein Schatz, kein Schmerz. With love that's true, I'll wait for you. Auf Wiedersehen, mein Herz. Adieu, mon cœur. On te jette au malheur. Tu n'auras pas mes yeux pour mourir. Adieu, mon cœur. Les échos du bonheur vont d'un chant triste pour ton cœur repentir. Ah, there. Whew. I feel a lot better. But I don't have hopes and dreams or plans and schemes since I don't have him, my turtle. I don't have hopes and dreams, and I don't have plans and schemes. I don't have anything since I don't have you. I don't have fond desires, and I don't have happy hours. I don't have anything since I don't have you. I don't have happiness, and I guess I never will ever again. When you walked out on me, in came old misery, and he's been here since then. I don't have one who cares, and I don't have love to share. I don't have anything since I don't have you. It happened one day. My turtle ran away. It was no fun. Hell, I didn't even know he could run. But he's out there somewheres, probably tired and alone. I just want him to know he could still come back home. Maybe I wouldn't feel so bad about the terrorist attack and the war in Iraq if only my turtle came back. I don't have fond desires, and I don't have new snow tires. I don't have anything since I don't have you, 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 you. Could still happen. You know, I didn't actually have it long enough to give it a name. It must have been like a week or two, but I'd gotten used to this very slow-moving animal. Apparently, that's what turtles do. They wait. When they see their chance.
The right moment, right?
Anybody else? Thank you.
You know it? Do you know it? Who wrote it, actually?
The song?
Yeah.
Skyliners out of Pittsburgh, 1961.
Yeah, it was a drop D tuning. Yeah. Very metal, right?
Well, you want to hear another story? Some of you will have heard this story and the one that we just did 2 years ago. But it's nice to be able to recycle them with an added guitar. So this is a fairy tale. I was driving in my car one day and I thought, boy, I should write a fairy tale. I'd loved fairy tales when I was a kid. And actually we were going to play a program in the group that I played with that had some fairy tales on it. So I thought, I should write another fairy tale. So I turned off the radio, turned off my mind, which is the important part, and this is what happened. It's called Another Fairy Tale. Once upon a time, very far away, many years ago, there lived a young birch tree named Billy. One day, Billy ran off and joined the circus. There he fell in love with a beaver named Brenda. And by good fortune, she loved him in return. Brenda worked as the knife thrower's assistant, while Billy, due to his poor verbal skills, could only find work as the tent pole under the big top. There he was forced to watch every evening as the knife thrower barely missed Brenda's trembling form. "Don't worry, Billy," Brenda would say. "He hardly ever misses." Love was hard for Billy and Brenda. Love was hard for Billy and Brenda. Love was hard for Billy and Brenda. But love can conquer all. Time passed, and their love grew and grew. But their meager salaries were not enough to allow them to marry. "Don't worry, Billy," Brenda would say. "Something will turn up." And sure enough, due to an unfortunate and horrible accident, the position of flame swallower became vacant. Brenda auditioned and got the job. Now they could marry. They were very happy. Brenda traveled back to her pond to share the good news with her family. Their reaction was not all she'd hoped for.
Excuse me, Brenda. In case you've forgotten, we chew down trees with our teeth and build dams with them. Then we eat their branches.
"But Dad, I love him." Billy traveled back to his forest, hitching a ride on a logging truck. His family was equally unimpressed with his news. "Okay, let me see if I got this straight. You want to marry a beaver? A fire-breathing beaver. Billy, you're a tree. You're flammable. You're also edible. Grow some branches. You look ridiculous." "But Dad, I love her." I don't know how the story ends. Perhaps they each commit suicide, thinking that the other is dead. Or perhaps through use of a magic flower, they overcome the witch's spells. Wait a minute, What witch? Or perhaps they build awareness among beavers and trees that leads to the eventual friendship and reconciliation between the two groups. Or perhaps they travel back to the circus without their family's blessing, to an ivory tower existence where their love is tolerated but not really supported. I don't know. All I know is love was hard for Billy and Brenda. Love was hard for Billy and Brenda. Love was hard for Billy and Brenda, but love can conquer all. Yeah, love can conquer all.
Bill.
Another wonderful well, you can hear me, but that's another wonderful performance. Those duets were just, thanks again, Bob, Lars Frandsen. Thank you so much.